episode of Millennial Talk 2.0, Multilingual Intergenerational Conversations. I'm your host, Enesse, and I have a very special guest for us today. I wanted to let you guys know that we are streaming on 12 platforms. So go ahead and pick your favorite podcast platform and come back and listen to this. Share it with your friend. And don't forget to follow all of our pages on social media with WCEG Network. And personally, mine is listed on this video. So today's guest and myself, we do not reflect the views of our network. And I want to go ahead and get started. I'm so excited. I'm very fired up to have you here today, Mr. Andre Notice. Uh, how are you doing today?
I'm happy, healthy, and wealthy. I'm just glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
When I met you, you said that, and I adopted that into my response. I'm still working on being able to naturally spit that back out. So happy, healthy,
And
and
wealthy. Oh, yeah. You are what you say you are. So you got to speak that thing.
and someone added to mine recently. They said booked and busy.
I
And I'm
say
like,
I say that as well. I say I'm blessed to be booked and busy.
ooh, okay. All right. See, I'm gonna adopt this now. So anybody
You
who
be the
knows me
first.
who's watching this, be prepared. I'm gonna have a really long answer when you say how you doing. Okay, so Mr. Andre,
Sure.
would you prefer Andre or Notice? Which
Uh,
what would you prefer?
Coach Andre, whatever. I'm easy.
Okay, Coach Andre, you are the author of Your Purpose Is Not for You. This
Yes.
book right here was, oh my gosh, I've never identified more with any book. I mean, the Bible was cool. I would say that, but the Bible be making me feel bad sometimes because it's some stuff that we all got going on, and we like, all right, I gotta get better. But I never identified more with a book that I did not write.
Wow.
This was a great read. It was 3 or 4 hours, not that bad. It was a really good read. I personally was reading it and I was like that part, and then people would look up at me and I'm like reading the book and I'm like, there's no one talking to me, but this book was talking back to me. So I definitely enjoyed reading this book. So you have a introduction that you give for yourself. I do not want to take the opportunity from you to do that. Can you please share us your introduction?
Sure. So for those that don't know, I'm the rhyming realtor for your dream home when you need to buy or sell. I'm the purpose coach for those that feel like they're going through hell. I am the speaker here to motivate, encourage, and inspire. I'm a poet as well and grab the mic to spit bars of fire. This book that I wrote, it's changing lives as well. A servant is what I am on a mission to serve, not sell. When it's all said and done, to help others reach their full potential by helping them find their purpose to find true joy. It is essential. Coach Andre is my name and inspiration is who I be. It is true, I live to give, and you will notice me.
I mean, we got some fires in the chat already.
I
We
love
got
it. I
some
love
fires
it. I
in the
love it.
chat already. Because if they're not there in the chat, they just know I got your back.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Okay, so this morning I did not realize you are not in Atlanta. You are in
Mm-mm.
Texas.
Yep. Central. Yep.
Thank you so much for being flexible and hopping on with us today. I
Yeah.
really would like to ask you a lot of questions,
Sure.
but more so in a conversational kind of aspect. So, your book is about helping others find their purpose
Yeah.
and what to do once they found it.
Yeah.
And you said on one of the pages, it says, you're going to sell millions.
That's the
You're going to
yep.
sell
That's
millions of
it's
copies.
coming. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you're already in progress. I can't even find out where it's at right now. But I was like, you know what? I need help selling millions of copies of my book too. I
Yeah.
think when I was reading your book, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the other half of the book I didn't write. I couldn't. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I was reading and watching videos about you and when you wrote your book, I think you said you completed it in 2021.
Correct.
That when you were given a time frame, I was like, oh my gosh, that's when I was writing my book.
Oh
And
wow.
it seems like we were both in alignment at the same time.
Yeah.
And our books are not similar. They just I want you to read my book because I think they like, yin and yang. I think they
Yeah.
pair very well.
Okay.
And I'm excited about this. So
Yeah.
you break each chapter down into questions.
Yeah.
And the first question is, what is purpose? So for our viewers who have not read your book yet,
Yeah.
can you please explain what purpose is for them?
Yeah. Absolutely. So the reason for the existence of anything is its purpose. There's nothing that has been created that doesn't have a reason for being created. This chair that I'm now sitting on was created to be sat in. The table that I'm holding my laptop on was created for something to be placed on top of it. So everything that was created, you and I were created. What is the reason why we were created? It is to do more than pay bills and die.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know this is out of order. I can't remember the exact order of each question, but I mean,
It's all
they
good.
were all equally important.
Yeah.
So you mentioned one area of the book that some people, oh, it was about peace. Some people will quit good jobs just so that they can have their peace. And
Yeah.
I personally experienced that like last year, 2023.
Yeah.
I think it was 2023. I don't know. I've been riding on this like trusting God kind of era and I'm
Yeah.
loving it. It's okay for me. It's not stressful. It's just really hard when you're used to trying to control everything and
Yeah.
then trusting God to take over and be in control. And I like how in your book you said that you really didn't stress out. How would you help someone like me who goes from needing to control everything to learning how to have faith and trusting that it's gonna come into fruition?
So the very first thing I would say is I strongly believe, this is my personal belief. I believe that stress, emotional stress, is a choice. And that choice comes from directing your energy on that which you do not want, or that situation that you're in that's uncomfortable. You're focusing on it. All stress is an emotional response to where you're directing your energy and your focus. That's all it is. So if you don't want to allow yourself to stress, don't focus on the situation that you do not want. Because what you're doing is, everything is energy. Your thought process is energy. And that energy is floating around in the atmosphere, and it must bring back something towards you. So even in the Bible, it tells us what to dwell on, and none of those things are negative. So the Bible tells us to dwell on those things that are of good rapport and positive, then that's what we should do. So you focus on what you do want. Focus on, instead of focusing on debt, focus on prosperity. And what happens is, when you stop focusing on what you don't want and you stop allowing yourself to seep into that downward spiral, what happens is your mind and your brain begins to open up ideas that can give you the release that you need. Another thing is, stop asking God, why am I going through this? That's the wrong question to ask. You never want to ask God why. Don't question God why. Instead, ask God what. What am I supposed to learn from this? So it's about redirecting your perspective on that situation. So the situation hasn't changed, but the way you view it has changed. The things that you look at change when you look at them differently. So it's about redirecting your energy and your focus so that you open up your mind for new ideas. And the last thing I would say is, if you're going through a rough time financially, and or if there's something that you want to obtain or achieve financially, instead of saying I can't afford that, that's a closed statement. You just said I can't afford it. Will you just place yourself in a future situation to where you still can't afford it because you put that in the atmosphere? Instead, ask a question: how can I afford this? Now the brain has ideas to answer that question as to how you can afford it. So those little tweaks right there can go a long way in your perspective and your outcome.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I okay, so going from what you just said, and when you meet someone, I've never met someone who was as fired up about getting other people to move in their purpose as I am. Like it's exciting when I meet someone and like I can see this big, like, one, they start telling me what they do or what they like to do, and then they don't see, like, oh my gosh, that's what you're supposed to be sharing with the world. So it's really nice to see that you're a person who does that as well. Like, if you would have asked me what is my purpose, I probably would have been like spitting it out the way I know what I know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know what I'm supposed to do is bigger than myself. Is
Right.
like, I am a multilingual, intergenerational, global community liaison. I didn't give myself that title. I prayed and it came to me. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I didn't pray and ask what to call myself. I prayed and where am I going? And
Mm-hmm.
so this was the name that came to me. I didn't even know what it meant originally. Like, I knew part, like, if I break it down, I can understand what it means. But when it came to me in my spirit, it was just like, wow. So I I don't call myself very religious. I'm not religious. I have a very strong spiritual relationship with God. And some people call God source, some people call God universe. I believe that when most of us tap into this, to our creator, no matter what the name is, if it's a positive, exuding love and becoming the best
Right.
version of yourself, it's the same thing. And being in the room with like-minded people, as your book
Oh
says,
yeah.
was very helpful in, like, the concept. Like, even when we met, we were in the room with like-minded people. Do you
Yeah.
remember how we met?
Oh yeah. At InvestFest, I was sitting there and you started talking. It was very random. Oh yeah, I remember.
Oh my gosh, like, that was all God. Like, I was about to leave and go somewhere else. Like, I have no idea. But then you started telling me what you do, and I was like, oh, this is why God wanted me to stop exactly right here. And like, I was on row 3 or 4, like, I was in the very front, and I'm walking out the door, and it's just like, you know how in the movies they put like, like they be doing
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
that's what happened when I stood next to you. And I was like, okay, God, I don't know why you want me to talk to this person, but let me go ahead and do it. And I love when that happens because I've had the opportunity to have people on the show this season who that happened to. Like, every single person that was on a guest on my show this season, that happened to. Like, it was like that kind of moment. And like, I love meeting people who work in their purpose. And so finding out, how do I support more people working in their purpose and being able to get them, like, it's exciting to get them, like, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm a mom. So teaching my baby something new and then watching her go do it is
Yeah.
just like I can't explain the feeling. It's warm, I guess. I don't
Absolutely.
know.
Absolutely. It's a
So
fulfilling.
coaching,
It's fulfillment is what it is.
yes, that's a great word. So
Yeah.
coaching for you is your way of being able to give to others, like, give,
It's
like,
one
to
way.
teach and give to others.
It's one
Okay.
way. There are multiple ways, but that is one way. Yes, 100%.
And so you said you had your real estate license for now 20 years, right?
This year makes 20 years. It'll be officially 20 years in June.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I
So
got it when
how
I was
did
8 years old.
you got it when you were 8?
Yeah, I was 8. Can't
Are
tell
you
you my
serious?
age. I can't tell you my age.
Okay, I was about to say 8. How did, like, I don't know how it
So it's
works.
all
I was
based
like,
on
is
who you
that for
know. It's
real?
all based on who you know.
That's hilarious. Okay, so when you were going through your darkest season,
Uh-huh.
and can you tell our viewers about that and how you didn't lose faith in those seasons? Because I know that's the season that tends to deter people from going to achieving their maximum potential.
Yeah, I can go through it. I'll make it quick though. What happened was in 2011, after I was working at T-Mobile, which was my last official job, I made the decision that I was going to no longer work there and I was going to quit my job and I was going to utilize my real estate license and jump headfirst full time as an entrepreneur to start off the year in 2012. And when I did that, I had two sources of income. I was selling homes and I was selling houses. And the guy that I was selling, I'm sorry, I was selling homes and I was selling cars. The gentleman that I was selling cars with, he actually ended up dying on a motorcycle accident here in Houston. So when he died, I lost that stream of income. And I was living with a roommate was living with me, so he was paying half of the bills. So when he died, I lost one stream of income. My bills doubled because my roommate moved out. So I went from two streams of income down to one, and my bills doubling. I ended up losing that apartment, and I moved into a hotel, and I ended up selling my belongings just to get by. And then from that hotel, I found out a friend found out. I didn't tell her. She just kept asking these probing questions. So she invited me to stay with her. I end up going from one friend's house to another friend's house to another friend's house. I stayed with four different friends, sleeping on couches, floors. I had a bed at one time, just moving about, trying to make it through real estate full time. And then when the last friend kicked me out, I told my dad I would come stay with him and stay on his couch. I'd be there for 2 weeks. I was there for 6 months. And then a week after my 30th birthday, he handed me a subpoena that I had to get out. So I packed up all my belongings again, and a car that I had just gotten was my house. So I packed up all my belongings. I put them in the back seat of my car. I put a coat over them so people couldn't see. And I literally drove around Houston selling homes when I had no home. And I would wake up in the mornings. I would go to Starbucks, or I would go to a title company. I would work, and I would show homes, and I would work, and then I would go to park into the parking lot of a hotel. I would sleep, get up, go to 24-hour fitness, wash my face, wash my behind, and do it all over again. And I did that for 3 months until I was able to sustain myself in real estate in 2015. I was homeless for 3 years. I was in my car for 3 months, and then I was able to get my own place in 2015. So from 2012 to 2015, I was literally going from place to place. Yeah, it was,
Wow.
yeah.
So, how are you able to stay strong mentally in seasons like that? Because
Yeah,
I know
there's,
people, including myself, who've been in similar situations,
yeah,
and that's one of those. It's really hard to stay mentally strong.
yeah.
So, how do you keep your faith when it looks like there's no light at the end of the tunnel?
So there was a couple of things. Number one, God would speak to me from time to time. That's one. Another thing was, for me, I just knew that he was taking me through something. I just knew it. I felt it. And also what really kept me besides my faith was I literally got addicted to personal development. So every day I was listening to Jim Rome, Bob Proctor, Eric Thomas, you name them, Les Brown,
He said Zig
John Maxwell,
Ziglar.
Zig Zig, all of them.
I got
So
one of his books right here.
yes, and what would happen is I realized that every single one of these inspirational gurus, all of them had a story. And within that story was when they went through a hard, rough, dark season. So when I realized it, I said, this is just my hard, rough, dark season. And pretty soon I'll be able to speak on stages and tell this story like they're doing. I knew it. So staying close to the fire and keeping my mind on those things by listening to those recordings every single day, because I kept listening to the same ones. It kept me
Wow.
it kept me inspired to know that Redder was on the other end, but I could not give up. I had to keep it before me.
Wow. Okay, so that's inspirational. I personally I listen to a lot of, like I told you over I think I texted you and I said we have a lot of similarities. Like you said there was a song that got you
Yeah.
through this period. Can you share the song with us?
Well, I wouldn't say it got me through the period. What happened was the song played for the very first time right before I went through the season. So when I was in my
Mhm.
apartment about to get evicted was when the song played. And I knew that God was speaking to me through that song. Because in the song it says that the song is called Coming Strong from Donald Lawrence. And he says, I'm coming strong on your behalf. Though you're going through a hard time, I'm coming strong. I know it looks like it's about to be over, but I'm coming strong. And I just knew that he was speaking direct. And I've never heard the song before. So that was really what let me
It was
know
like a
that I was
warning
doing. Yeah, it
that
was.
I got your
It
back,
was.
even though
Right,
it might get hard. I got your back.
right.
Well, my song was Deliver Me by Donald Lawrence as
Yeah.
well. And it happened around the same time for me when I was actually, I think I was about to get evicted. Yeah, I think I
Wow.
was about to get evicted, and I heard this song. I went to it was in college, and then I went to visit one of my neighbors, and she said she would do my hair for $20. I said, okay, that's I don't know where the $20 is gonna come from, but I still gotta get my hair done.
Right.
And like it came. I mean, I got my hair done, but she said, yeah, this is my jam, and she played this song, and I'm like, well, wow, like most people play other kinds of music when they're doing stuff like this. And it was just
Right.
like, wow, I'm meeting someone who's my age and who is fired up about God as well. And I think that
Mhm.
was right before I got really fired up about God, because I was going through that phase where it's like, oh my gosh, it's like one thing and then it's another thing. And then it's like,
Mhm.
it reminded me of the saying, it might be a Bible verse. You don't have to let me know if it is, when they say, God won't give you more than you can handle.
It's not a verse, but people think that is because
Okay.
the whole point of why we go through these times is because he gives you more than you can handle because you can't handle it without him. That's the whole point.
Ooh,
So
you're
that's a saying that's
right.
been going on, but it's not scripture because God purposely gives you more than you can handle. So that because that's why the word now what is a scripture is when it says, my strength has been made whole in your weakness. So when you're weak, he's strong. So he gives you things that you can't handle because you can't handle it. He can, and you can through his strength.
Right. Okay, so going off of that, basically when you come through a season where you couldn't handle it, it's just so God can get the glory from it. So
Exactly.
it's not no, I don't know how I made it through this. It's
Yep.
like the only proof I can give you is
That's
God
it.
was looking out for me.
That's it. Otherwise,
Okay.
otherwise you get the glory and it's not about you,
Mhm.
which is the reason why your purpose is not for you. It's not about you. If you think it's about you, you missed it. And you're going to keep going through the same loops until you get it. To the degree that you don't pass the test, you shall repeat it. You better get the
Mhm.
test now or you're going to repeat it.
And then you said the test, you can't have a testimony without the test. And I was like, oh, he's spitting in this
I
book.
mean, the word test is in testimony. You can't get
It
one
is.
without the other. That ain't finna work.
And like I never would have saw it that way. Like I mean, I know I've heard the word, and I know I use the word, but I never would have thought of it like, oh, I have to go through a test in order
Yes,
to have the testimony.
absolutely. It's like people trying to say I'm using the law of attraction, but they don't do anything. The word act is an attraction. Act, attract, attraction. It's in there. It's in the word. You just pay attention to the verbiage. It's there for a reason. Break the word down.
So how do you? Okay, so you were talking in your book about how we're social beings, and we want to feel valued by the people around us. We want
Yeah.
to feel loved and accepted. And I wanted to know, what about those people who are in friendships, relationships, or have a family member that they see their potential, they see their gifts, but this family member doesn't see it themselves. How would you help them to support that person who either is scared to achieve their purpose or look for their purpose in the first place? How would you help those kind of people, like the support friend?
Yeah, you got to keep supporting that. And you talking about somebody where I can see their gifting and their potential, but they can't see it.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to keep. So here's the thing. I can't want it more for you than you want it for yourself. The only thing that I can do is plant the seed by encouraging you, by praying for you, by pointing out those things that you have, by saying, hey, look at it from this perspective. You were able to yada, 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 yada. But at some point, that person has to want it for themselves. You can only do so much. They have to want it for themselves. I really believe that the very first step to success, in my personal belief, is desire. And it's right there where most people fail because they don't want it. They either don't want it bad enough to go through the hard part, or they don't have faith in themselves. So they kind of tell themselves that they don't want it when they really do. So if you can't bring yourself to understanding that what you have was not made for you and that you were supposed to share it with the world, then you're missing the point of life. And we are all made to succeed. We are all made to do great things, but you have to have faith in yourself. Listen to the words that other people tell you that are positive and take that as a indication as to who you can become.
Wow. Okay. So you're saying that the support person continues to support and pray for them, but it's all on that person
It
to
really
actually
is.
do it.
Yeah. I can't do your push-ups for you. What's going
You're
to happen
right.
if I try to keep doing your push-ups? I'm gonna get stronger. You ain't
Right.
I can't do your push-ups.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. So moving on from the support person, so how do you help people who know like I have this big vision for my life and I know my purpose, but I'm doing the work, but I'm not seeing any results. And I've been doing the work for X amount of time and there isn't any results to really show for it. And I know the bills are due, but I don't have the money for it. So how do you help them to not revert to going back?
Well, the very first thing you have to do is analyze the situation. You're doing the work, but are you doing the work? Why are you doing the work? Are you doing the work because you're passionate about it? Are you doing the work because you believe it's within your purpose? What is the reason why you're doing the work? And then one of the things that I've learned is there is activity and there's productivity. They are not the same.
Mm,
Activity is just doing things. Productivity is doing the right things. So a lot of people in entrepreneurship, they're active, but they're not productive. They're doing things, but they're not getting anything done. They're literally spinning in circles. So you got to try to find out, am I doing the right things? And if you keep getting the same results and you're not seeing a difference, in my personal opinion, you either need to hire a coach, and if you talked about before where you said you don't have the money to hire a coach, you need to talk to somebody who was in that same industry, in that same field, and get to a place where you can start either asking them questions or start doing some research to find out what other things that they're doing correctly that I can start implementing now to receive those different results. Because success leaves clues. If you do what the successful people are doing, you will have what the successful people are having. But you got to do the right things, not anything.
okay. So on a daily basis, what is included in your list of I must do this? If like yes, this day may look different than yesterday and it's probably different than what's going to happen tomorrow, but what has to happen every day for you?
You got to feed yourself. So there are six areas of your physiology that need to be fed on a regular basis. And most people experience burnout because they don't feed these things. You have your social self, your physical self, your intellectual self, creative, emotional, and spiritual. You have to feed every single aspect of yourself on a daily basis, on a regular basis. And the moment that you don't, and you're lacking in the areas when you start to experience burnout, and you don't even realize why. So you have to find ways to feed the different aspects of your physiology on a regular basis.
Okay, so I was asking for you personally, like
That's it.
what's your day?
It's
That's your
both.
day.
It's general and it's personal for me as well.
So you feed all of these areas daily.
Or at least attempt to, yeah. So,
Okay.
but I feed like the first four or five most days before 8 a.m., 7 a.m. Because I'll try to get between 4:30 and 5:30. So I have a whole morning routine that I go through. So yes, I have to because I spend my days literally pouring to others. But how can I pour into others if I'm empty?
You're right. You're right. That's actually one thing I learned after I had my baby and I started feeling burned out. And I vowed that I'm not going through depression again. So once I started feeling those aspects of postpartum, I had to figure out what was it that needed to change. And
Yeah.
that's where my serious, I got to go into my prayer closet kind of moment. And so God started giving me clarity about the different areas of my life that I needed to organize. And then I was like, ooh, I like having this clarity. I need to prioritize my prayer time. So, and getting up in the middle of the night, people would be like, "Oh my gosh, does the baby sleep the whole night?" And I was like, "No, but it works for me." So, I mean, it might be uncomfortable for you, but she's my alarm clock to get up and thank God. So now I still get up early. Around the time you said you're in the central time, so we probably get up around the same time. And just because I think once you're passionate about your life and what you're supposed to be doing, and you wake up and every day feels like, all right, today matters. Every day feels like it matters. When you get up early and you have more time in your day, I feel like I get to have multiple days. Do you get that
Right.
kind of feeling for yours as well?
Yeah, absolutely. But it has to be on a regular basis. You can't just start and stop. And one of
Okay.
the see, we're creatures of habit. And being creatures of habit, you're going to develop habits where you try to or not. The question is, are you developing good habits or bad habits? And are you doing it intentionally or unintentionally? And that's the difference.
And my in the chat we have a question. Can you please repeat those areas of your life
Yeah,
that
so
every day you need to feed?
yeah, so I have a coaching program where I go deeper into this. But I remember I got this from my mentor, honestly. I didn't even come up with this. I knew about it. I was kind of doing it, but I didn't have it organized in this structure. But I remember it from the word spices, SPICES. So the first S, spiritual, P, physical, I, intellectual, C, creative, E, emotional, and then the last S is social.
Mm, okay. Okay, I have to make my list so that I can go back. But spices, I like that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
definitely going to be implementing it if I'm not already. I think I am in different ways, but I do like the acronym so that it's easier for people to remember. And
absolutely. I'm,
so,
I'm real big on acronyms. I love them.
okay, so what acronym do you use to help you keep going?
To keep going.
You used one in the book. It was FEAR, and I
Oh
was like,
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Okay, because I have a couple of them. I was about to say a different one. Actually, I was just about to say a different one. I was about to say what
Okay, well, give us both.
I was gonna say focus,
Okay.
and that's focus on one until successful. Um, focus on one course until successful. Focus. That's what I was gonna say. But the one on fear is there are two for fear. You can either forget everything and run, FEAR, or you can face everything and rise. It's a choice.
Wow. I love how you use all three of these, and you probably have a million more. Um, but if you wanted to share more, how can our viewers come and watch your content and subscribe to your information and get your book? Can you please let them know?
Absolutely. And I just put spices in the chat as well. Uh, I'm easy to find. You can Google me, Andre Notice. And my Instagram is actually posted on my profile as well. You will notice me, and I
And
actually
that's the letter U.
the letter U, not the word. Correct. You will notice because my last name is Notice, so I'm just utilizing it to my advantage. Gotta brand yourself. But yeah, you can Google me. You can find me on Instagram. You can go to andrenotice.com. That is a link tree there as well. And I'm just here to pour into others and spread knowledge, spread truth, spread wisdom, spread inspiration. And I edify, encourage, enlighten, and inspire. So I'm excited to do that.
Edify, encourage, enlighten, and inspire.
It's actually four E's: edify, encourage, enlighten, and empower.
Empower. Okay. I'm just learning all this whole time. I've been learning, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come back and watch this so I can
Yeah, I'm all I'm all,
get
I'm all
these and
about
take the
systems.
notes.
Yeah, systems and processes and acronyms, all of that. Absolutely.
So your ideal. client. How would you describe your ideal client for your coaching business?
Yeah, so it's a person that is it's a person that is in one place in life. Like if I was gonna ask you where are you in life, you could place yourself on the scale from 1 to 10. Where are you in life? And they say 3, 4, 5, and they want to get to 8, 9, 10, and they don't know how. And the reason why they don't know is because they're not sure what they're supposed to be doing. They can't really figure it out. I'll deal with the person that feels unhappy, unsatisfied, unfulfilled. Most of the time, they're working at a job they don't want to be in. Most of the time, they see themselves being an entrepreneur, starting their business, but they have no idea what their purpose is. So I deal with the individual that is like, I want more from life, but I'm not sure where to start. My program is designed to help those individuals discover themselves, discover their purpose, build up themselves from the internal. I focus on the internal so that they can start a business, so they can walk into their purpose, so they can live a fulfilled life. Because most people live and die and never find out why they were even here because of fear. But if you want to know what you were created for, you got to go back to the creator. And that's what I focus on, is helping those individuals getting in alignment with what God has placed them to do on this earth and turn that from purpose to profit. So
And
I push
I
people to
like how
pursue
you just keep
purpose.
spitting.
Yeah, yeah. I'll
Like,
push people to
and
pursue
because you do
purpose.
it so
That's it.
smoothly, and that's the way I feel like you're living in your purpose, doing that exactly. Like you're exuding what it's like to live in your purpose. It becomes more than who you are. It's your essence that
Yeah,
it you know how it says your gifts will make room for you, and you
absolutely.
hear that in the book. And so you're showing how your gift is making room for you, and you're inspiring our viewers to say, okay, all right, so I might do this with ease, but it might not be easy for someone else. And you said you take your purpose and turn it into profit. And it's a lot of people who struggle with, how do I do that? Or they struggle with the concept that they can do that. A lot of times they're in situations either in their like schools or whoever they spend the most time around, their friends or their family. And in your book, you shared the Jay Shetty story.
Yeah.
Do you mind explaining how that was relevant for the readers?
Yeah, 100%. So the story, Jay Shetty is a very inspirational guy, entrepreneur, podcaster, speaker, author, all these things. And he's Indian. He grew up in an Indian household. And in the Indian and the African households, you're either a doctor, a lawyer, or engineer, or failure. That's it. I mean, you have no other options. And unfortunately, so many individuals are living lives doing things that they don't want to be doing because of other individuals, their parents, their families, the expectation that falls upon them from outside influences. And what happens is, if you do become what they expect you to become, yeah, you're successful in their eyes, but you're unfulfilled in your own personal life. And these people end up depressed, discouraged, you name it. And it's
You
because
mentioned the midlife crisis.
yes, exactly. That's how they end up in the midlife crisis. Exactly. So my whole thing is to get people to understand that yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, you may have to go against the grain of what society or your parents or family or the norms tell you, but what matters most to you and what matters most to God.
Okay, so for those people who they're trying to figure out what matters most to them and what matters most to God, but life is still happening. So
Yeah.
I went to school in South Georgia. I really don't like saying that. I prefer to say I went to school in North Florida. But in one of the areas where I lived, I worked at McDonald's, and I worked there because I worked three jobs and I had to pay my bills. And so when I worked at the McDonald's, that was the most eye-opening experience of all of the food places I worked. It was the kind of mindset that people had working there and the customers. So the customers talk to them any kind of way, I like any kind of way. And like it was just like, oh wow, you're belittling me. And like, this is just my first degree I'm working on. And like, you think so little of me, but we are equally important. Like, degree or no degree, we both have a purpose. And you're here, you're eating the food. So like, I don't understand how this is random. People can treat people like that in the food industry and then get food from the people they just treated like that. But in the workers, I saw a mindset that was different. Like, oh, what do you want to do when you grow up? Oh, I want to like I was 19. So I asked a 19-year-old and she was 19 and had 4 kids at that point. She's like, I got 4 kids. I don't got time for that. And I was like, you have 4 kids at 19, but it's because of the mindset in that area was like, you can't go above a certain mark if you look a certain way. You can only achieve to be the regional or the store manager for a retail or food industry. You can't do that. But I know there has to be so many people in that area that feel unfulfilled.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to give back to those areas. But in reading that part about the Jay Shetty, it took me back to that experience when she was like, I don't got time to think about me. I have 4 kids. So I don't want more people to go through life feeling unfulfilled because they have other people depending on them. They don't have time to develop themselves. So how do you help those people who don't have time?
Yeah. So the very first thing is let's go back to that Jay Shetty scenario. You can even say Yvonne Orji, same situation. African who was on Insecure, same situation. Both of these individuals had to go against the norm of their family heritage. But what became of it? What became of it? They became the examples. So to answer your question, you have to find the examples, exposure. You have to expose yourself to those individuals who had a very similar situation to the one that you're in and find out what did they do. Because again, success leaves clues. But if you don't know those clues, how can you follow the roadmap to get there? So you have to find out what that specific individual or those individuals did. That's the first thing. The second thing is you have to, the very most important thing you can do. This is the very most important thing you can do. Time block and be consistent. You have to set aside time every single day to one, feed yourself, and two, educate
What do you
yourself.
mean by feed yourself?
Going back to the spices we talked about earlier, the spiritual, physically, intellectual, all of that. And then number two, educate yourself. So you have to, whatever area that you want to be in, you have to be the expert. So if you have to be the expert, that means you got to spend time reading. You have to spend time every day, time block. At this time every day, I'm going to do this. I'm going to read for 15 minutes. And you have to think about it like working out. If I go to the gym and I haven't worked out in, let's say I haven't worked out in 2 months, and I go to the gym and I know I need to be in shape and I have this physique. You can see a physique behind me as to how I want to look on my back wall. If I'm trying to get the physique and I haven't worked out in 2 months and I go to the gym and I say, since I haven't worked out in 2 months, I'm just going to be here for 10 hours and I'm going to get it. 10 hours. And then the next person comes in and says, you know what? Same situation. I haven't worked out in 2 months, but I'm going to come in here for just 30 minutes every single day for about 3 months. Who is going to have better results?
At 30 minutes.
Exactly. Because what they did, even though it wasn't a lot of time, they did it every single day. So,
And that goes
let's be
back to your
honest.
productivity and
Exactly.
activity.
Exactly. Not only that, it also speaks to your question because what happens is they have made time every single day, just a little bit of time to allocate towards their goal. So you have to put time every single day to allocate towards what am I supposed to be doing to reach the destination of where I want to be.
And so you showed us your vision board. How does a vision board help someone who's never done one? Like they know, oh, I don't really know what I want, but I'm gonna go get this magazine and cut out some pictures and put it on there. How
It's
does
kind of
it help
productive.
you?
It's kind of productive if you don't know what you want, because it's supposed to be what you want on there. So I wouldn't even suggest you do it if you don't know what you want. That doesn't make any sense to me. But if you do know what you want, see what I have to, if I tell you, don't think about elephants, what pops into your mind?
Other things.
Exactly. Why? Because as human beings, we think in pictures. We're designed to think in pictures. If I start telling you a story of a little boy who was walking across the sidewalk and then he fell into a ditch, what happens? You start visualizing exactly what I just said. We think in pictures. So if you think in pictures, as you see pictures, your mind is processing and you're thinking about it. So why not have images of those things that you want your mind to constantly process? Then you start to get ideas as to how to attract and obtain those things. That's the mindset behind vision boards.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I've never heard them explained exactly like that. That was a great picture, like picture of how
Absolutely.
someone should address coming into, like, I know we just had the new year and a lot of people have vision board parties, and that's really cool. But if someone goes to a vision board party and they see everyone else just putting together what they want, it makes it difficult for them to like put something on a board if they don't know for sure. And now I have like a little bit more clarity of why that happened.
So
Because you can't put something on there if you don't know what you want.
and right. And here's the thing is you have to ask yourself why. If you say you want something, why do you want it? You have to ask yourself, why do you want it? What is this going to provide for me? Why do I want this?
And I believe vision boards work. I mean, I'm a big planner. I you have in the book, it was the last part. It was like my favorite part. It
Okay.
said get to work, plan, and then protect. For me, mine was plan and then get to work. And that's the only thing I disagreed with the first like in the whole book was I'm a super planner. I'm a planner to my own detriment sometimes
No,
where
I
I
get it.
overthink
I
and
get
like
it.
I'm like, all right, if this happens, then I need to do this and then have a plan B if this doesn't work out. So I'm learning in this season specifically of my life how to, all right, just plan to the next step,
Right.
not try to have every single thing figured out and then know what the big goal is, but know what I need to do next. Like, what
Right.
am I working towards? So once this is accomplished, what can I do in this season of my life to continue receiving what I want, like the vision.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I believe that vision boards really do work. I literally checked off everything on my vision board when I went back to look at my most recent one. And I was like, oh, wow, every single thing has been completed.
That's
But
dope.
it was because it was up and I constantly saw it. And
Right.
I
Exactly.
started putting in those actions that were productive and I got to work.
Yes. But I want to address what you talked about. The reason why I put get to work first is because, yes, I do believe you should plan first. 100%. Plan your work, work your plan. But most people will get stuck in the cycle of planning and never get to work.
Mm.
That's the reason why I did that. Was because most people, once they start planning, oh, I gotta get it just right. And they get stuck just planning and planning and planning. And then they never get
Waiting for
to
that perfect moment.
and there is no perfect moment.
So
That's the
you reminded me, Bishop Bronner, Bishop Dale C. Bronner at Word of Faith Church, he says, um, I'm trying to make sure I say it right. I, somebody can go watch all of his sermons and then they can go find the exact way to say it if they have a problem with the way I'm about to say it. He said, start moving in the right direction or start moving and the right direction will reveal itself.
yeah.
So
I'll talk about that in the book
I
too.
think that's along the same line too.
Yeah. Yeah. I talk about the analogy of when you're driving in a car at night. The only distance you can go is as far as your lights will allow you to be able to see. And as you keep driving, you're being revealed more road that your lights can show you until you reach your destination. All you have to
You
do is
put it
start
so
the process.
poetically. That's the poet in you. That's you using your gift. Because the way you think of something like that, like I would have never thought of it like that. Like I can only go as far. Like how do you walk if you can't see all of the road? You just start taking a step. And
That's it.
then the closer you get, you're gonna get to see more steps.
That's
And
it.
then one day you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, wow, I've come a long way.
Right, exactly. Because you can't, you oftentimes, if I tell you to come to my house, when you get into your car, even turn the lights on, you can't see my house. You can't see the destination. But what you can see, you take those few feet ahead of you and you keep on going. And then eventually you'll reach your destination.
Paso a paso, step by step.
Yep.
So in this season, what are you the most excited about for your life?
Man, I am most excited about helping employees become entrepreneurs through my coaching program, helping individuals have the aha moment, helping individuals have the clarity, build the mindset, understand the process. Because what happens is most people, they have an idea as to what they want to do, but they don't have the knowledge as to what they can do to get to where they want to go. So what I've done was I've created a system and a process that actually outlines specifically what you can do and who you can become in the process so you can actually achieve those goals. So what I do is in my program is 6 weeks, and every week we cover a different M. M is in Mary. So the first week is mindset, second week is manifestation. Third week is man, meaning network. Fourth week is mapping out a plan. Fifth week is move, meaning action. And then the last week is money. We talk about how to get to the money. And that's what I'm excited about, is just being able to help individuals not just know what to do to become an entrepreneur, but who they have to become. Because if if you go to if Jim Rome, I like how what Jim Rome said. He says, if you go to work, you can make a living. If you work hard on yourself, I'm sorry, if you work hard on your job, you can make a living. If you work harder on yourself, you can make a fortune. So I help you work on
Mm.
yourself.
And then like I was just talking to someone the other day and I said some things are more valuable than money. Like
Yeah,
yes, you and with the fortune, not everyone is meant to be wealthy in
right.
money, but they might have the relationships that change other people's lives, or they might have like one specific thing that helps other people. And yes, they'll make a lot of money with it. But some things like having your peace, as you stated in the book, that's worth more than money. Having people around you who truly love you and aren't just using you to better themselves, that's worth more than money.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything else that's worth more than money?
Yeah, well, of course, your value system, the things that you hold core as value to you, 100%. But we live in a society where a lot of people sell their soul by going against their core values and beliefs for a dollar amount.
Mm,
But that's a choice. You don't have to make that choice. But I believe that's another one as well.
you're right for these temporary things because at the end of the day, you can't take none of this with you. So if
None
you
of
sell
it.
your soul, you lose out on the opportunity to
And it's not
wow.
worth it. And it's not worth it.
And then that's all people will remember you by. Oh, the way you treated them, or is what's the saying? You know what I'm talking about when they say people remember
People,
the way you treat them.
yeah, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Exactly.
Yep.
So that is all I have for you today. Do you have any questions for me?
I would just like to know how I can support what you have going on so I can just be a blessing to you. I just love doing what I can to be a blessing. That's all.
I would love to learn how I can speak at school
Okay, yeah, I can help you
because
with that.
a lot of you talked about bullying in the book, and a lot of my experience growing up was with bullying or
Yeah,
being bullied until I learned how to say, you know what? I'm not going to accept this because of your value system. You think you can mistreat me. So I want to help those kids because right now, a lot of kids don't feel like they have someone in their corner. A
Right.
lot of them are just on social media and their phones and the internet, watching TV, all of these things that we were meant to do to be more social with our families have taken us apart from our family. So we might be in the same room, but all of us are in different mental places. So I
Yeah.
want to work with families and young people so that we can help build stronger systems, like family systems. I believe that will actually help us improve our world.
I can help you get into the school system. That's not a problem. And I would say that I don't think that middle school, high school individuals should have social media, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of them are on there. That and
Mhm.
the video games where they can talk to other people. I know when I was their age, I had the Yahoo Messenger and whatever was out because it was like that's what my friends are doing.
Yeah,
So
I
I
know.
didn't want to feel left out. Like your book says, we want to fit in.
Yep, absolutely. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Just so you know, this is recorded and posted onto all 12 of our platforms for podcasting. It's available on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn Live, and I believe YouTube Live. So feel free to send this out to your family members who might need to use this or um, to our viewers. If you know someone who needs someone to coach them in the right direction, go ahead and share this episode with them so that they can get in contact with Coach Andre and definitely check out this book. It's a really good read. It's an easy read and it's like it reads you too.
I love it. I love it.
Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely day.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm sorry, beforehand.
Oh,
Can you please tell our guests one more time how to get a copy of your book and your website?
yeah, you can go to purposeforme.com. It shows 29, but it's actually 19.99 when you order it. I've dropped the price. I need to change that website. But purposeforme.com. You can also go to andrenotice.com, see my link tree on there, and I'll get it out to you, ship it out to you. So I appreciate the support, the love, and I pray that this book is a blessing to you so that you can be a blessing to others. Because when it's all said and done, I live to give.
When you come back to the Atlanta area, I need you to sign my copy.
I got you. I got you.
And thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely day.
Thank you.